So stablecoins like RLUSD are replacing XRP? I don't think so in this episode of Crypto News in a Flash. So I've made videos about this before. Episode 88, for example. But some people still seem to think that despite that video, that XRP is being made useless with the creation of stablecoins. I'm going to try to keep this short and concise. Stablecoins cannot handle the flow of traffic that comes with massive adoption. It's that simple. There is only 1.34 billion RLUSD, and under major adoption, that blockchain could handle trillions of dollars in transactions, probably even much larger than $1 billion per transaction. Also, stablecoins are a resting asset or a holding asset for most people that are collecting gains from their other assets, which means stablecoins are a cash out token. If someone has a bunch of Bitcoin that hits like $250,000 and they want to lock in their gains, they'll swap over to a stablecoin like RLUSD. And then they let their money sit while Bitcoin dumps back down to 160,000. Then they buy back in when Bitcoin hits a new low. So a lot of the stablecoins that are in circulation are going to be used to hold assets digitally. Whether that's 10%, 20%, 30% of the supply, it doesn't matter. A portion is still being held, leaving what's left of that available supply to be traded. Now, the Genius Act and the NYDFS, which is the New York Department of Financial Services, require that all stablecoins are backed one-to-one with real-world custodied reserves at all times. This is cash. T-bills, repos, government treasury assets, you get the picture. Now, they can mint more whenever they want, but the minting process is not instantaneous. Here's a scenario. If RLUSD has a max supply of $1.34 billion and I swap $1.34 billion of my money into RLUSD, effectively soaking up the entire supply, what happens if somebody else decides they want to try to swap another billion into the supply despite it all being gone? RLUSD can mint more. The problem is minting, like I said, is not instantaneous. The process, once a minting request is submitted, the fiat or cash equivalent required by the Genius Act and the NYDFS needs to be sent to BNY Mellon or Ripple Custody and Trust. That stablecoin backing asset, whether it's fiat or T-bills or whatever, has to be sent via Fedwire, which for one is only operational Sunday through Friday. Then that process could take anywhere from 15 minutes to 3 to 4 hours. These funds usually are sent first to a segregated transaction account. Then, once the funds are in that transaction account and confirmed, it is then sent over to BNY Mellon or Ripple Custody and Trust to their dedicated reserve accounts. This could also take another 15 to 60 minutes. Then there is a compliance and verification process. This could also take another 5 to 30 minutes. Then and only then can they mint new RLUSD on the XRP ledger. RLUSD or stablecoins are a tool, not a replacement for crypto, especially XRP. And as of right now, there is no holding mechanism on the XRP ledger for XRP or RLUSD that I'm personally aware of. So from what I understand, if there isn't RLUSD available, then the transaction just won't work. They can't start a transaction, then wait 4 hours to 6 hours for the minting to finish. Then when the minting finishes, they get their money. The minting happens all off-chain. Minting isn't done on-chain. And by the way, it is against the law to mint temporary unbacked tokens, even just to handle one quick transaction. If it's not backed one-to-one, that RLUSD token does not exist. So the next time someone says RLUSD will replace XRP, just show them this video and episode 88 of my Crypto News in a Flash, and hopefully that will answer their questions. Wealth, love, and authenticity to you all.